I've spent over $1 million on ads profitably. This has allowed me to generate over $7.6 million in revenue for my clients. I've seen what works, what doesn't, and what everyone gets wrong. In this video, I want to show you the 6 things I always need in order to run profitable ads. If I don't have one of them, the chances of my campaigns failing are almost certain. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Philip and I help business owners and entrepreneurs build scalable client acquisition systems. So let's get into it. Now, here's just a bit of background. Is a screenshot from Facebook ads from November 23 to November 24, where I've spent over $1 million, like I just told you. And if you see here, with this $1 million, I've generated over 272,000 leads at about $3.7 per lead. And if you're not very familiar with Facebook and Instagram ads, what I can show you here is the average cost per lead on Instagram, for example, as of November 2024 was $6.39. And it varies a lot, anywhere between $5 and $20. But just to give you an idea that typically our cost per lead are much lower than the industry averages. So what I want to show you in this video is basically the 6 main things I always need when I start running campaigns. And those are really like the main pillars I use to build client acquisition systems and build paid acquisition systems for my clients. So the first thing I always look for is a great offer. Now, there's a saying in marketing that when you run paid ads or when you run any kind of advertising, you're basically amplifying your business. Now, what this means is that you're basically just picking up what you have and making it more available to more people. The issue with that is that if you have a great business, then awesome, amazing, everyone's gonna know about this. But if you have a bad offer, if you have a bad product, if you have something that people don't want, then advertising is not gonna solve your problem, right? Because all you're gonna have is more people that know about your product and more people that know that your product is not as good as it should be, or more people that just don't want your product, don't want your offer. So this is really one of the primary areas you should focus on is, okay, do I actually have something that people want? Do I have something that is valuable to people and I'm offering it them at a fair price? And when I mean fair price is more about what's the value that you're giving and the price that you're charging. So there should be a value discrepancy between the value that you, obviously your clients pay you, and the value that they're getting at the end. And when it comes to offers, there are different things that you can do to try to improve them. Now, obviously, one of the most common ones you're going to be seeing is you can work with, for example, lead magnet, which obviously are basically free. So if you're offering something for free, then it's much more likely that it's a great offer for the clients, for the prospects. So that's going to be one of the things that you're going to see most frequently is going to be like a lead magnet. Now, lead magnets you can use, for example, obviously ebooks, PDF, resources, swipe files, webinars, workshops. Depending on your business, there are different lead magnets you can use to attract your prospects. And those are typically really good to attract a lot of leads. The issue you might have with them, especially if they're free, is that you're going to have to front your advertising costs and you're not going to have anything in return. So you're going to have to have a proper funnel to then turn those leads, called the prospects, into actually paying customers. Another good thing for great offers is obviously if you're running special campaigns or discounts or any kind of cold offers that allow you to attract your clients. So when it comes to these campaigns, you'll actually see very frequently a lot of businesses running very aggressive client acquisition campaigns to get the customers in the door, like free trials, X discounts, buy one, get one free, a lot of top of funnel offers to basically just get the clients inside the door so that they can see your product, they can love you, and then keep purchasing or keep using it. And those are going to be like the ones that tend to convert the better, the magnets campaigns. But obviously, whatever you do, you just need to make sure that you have something that is valuable. So you need to make sure that your value is high, or your value to price is high, right? So whatever they pay you, it needs to be really valuable for them so that they actually feel like it's a great offer, right? And especially in the competitive markets, this can become a little bit harder because there are a lot of people running similar campaigns and you need to figure out how you can stand out. But great offers, a great front-end offer is going to be one of the easiest things that you're going to have and that you need to actually run profitable campaigns. So once you have a great offer, then you can start working on the rest. So this is going to be the number one, is finding something that people want and having something valuable to offer. Number two is going to be creative testing. Now, you've probably heard of this a lot. Like most advertisers speak about this, and it's kind of a cliche, but it's because it works. Now, my philosophy when it comes to creative testing is you should be testing a lot of creatives. It really depends on your budget. It really depends on your structure. There are certain businesses where creative testing is much more important for others. If you have a service business, it's much more likely that you don't need to test as many creatives as, for example, an e-com company. But the idea is that you should be testing creatives, and you particularly should be always testing angles and formats. Now, I never start a campaign with just one creative. So whenever I start a campaign, I like to have between 3 and 5 different creatives, either angles or format, to see what's working best. And the idea here is you want to test different angles, see what kind of messaging works best, or formats. Sometimes it's going to be talking head videos, sometimes it's going to be UGC, sometimes it's going to be carousel images, sometimes it's going to be reviews. So figuring out what's working best for your specific audience, for your specific avatar, and for that you need to have a little bit of testing frameworks, right? So you just don't want to test one different type of creative, test different things and see what's working best for you. Now, another good tip here is, so let me just write here. So one is going to be different formats. Different angles. Now, you want to have some kind of testing framework. What I mean by this is you should always be testing different ads, right? Depending on your budget, those might be more or less, but the idea is once you have something that is winning, something that is working, then you should iterate it. So if you see, for example, testimonials are working really well for you, what you want to do is you pick up your first style that worked really well and then create different variations of that. And that might be, for example, with different testimonials, different social proof, or keeping the same testimonial, but different, for example, CTAs or different headlines. So keep iterating on what works to make sure that you can actually improve it in the future. So having some kind of framework for testing and making sure that you're actually improving your ads, it's also important, because if you just test things and then you don't do anything with what's working, then you're not going to be actually improving your performance. You just, hey, this ad's winning, but then it doesn't bring you any kind of knowledge into your future ad sets. So what you want to do is make sure that you actually figure out something that is working and then use that to improve all your ads. So this is going to be really the 3 main things that you want to look for when it comes to creative testing. So testing different formats, different angles, and having a testing framework in place. Now, for some more advanced businesses, especially in e-commerce, if you're spending a lot, you might be having spending like dozens or hundreds of creatives every month. For small businesses, that's generally not the case, but you still want to make sure that you're always running different variations of ads. You're never just basing on your campaigns on just one ad type. Now, if you want, I actually have a library of over 300 ads. It's completely for free. I'll include the link in the description. You can access it, and then you just give you like some ideas of ads that are performing really well. Those are ads that are active or that I saw and I like them, and then I put them there on the library, save them so that you can access them for free. Now, the third thing I'm looking for, it's gonna be understanding the data, understanding the numbers. Now, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, your focus should be revenue, right? So you want to be profitable. You need to get some kind of return from the ads that you're running. And typically the most common metrics you're going to be seeing is ROAS, so return on ad spend, CAC, so the customer acquisition cost, and LTV, lifetime value. Now, those three are really the metrics that should be most important for you. What you don't want to focus is any kind of vanity metrics. So you don't want to work with anyone or any agency that is gonna be giving you results based on any kind of top of funnel metrics like reach, impressions, like any kind of this data. This is a no-go. You don't want this. So you don't want to focus on reach, you don't want to focus on impressions. Those really aren't useful metrics for business owners in terms of profitability. Because I can be honest with you, like if I have a client who just wants traffic, who just wants clicks, who just wants page views, reach, impressions, or yeah, I should actually include it here. So for example, page views or clicks. Those are no good. So if I have a client who just wants those, like I could run very cheap campaigns and get a lot of page views, a lot of clicks, a lot of traffics that are low quality and will not convert, right? So you can have an advertising just pushing a lot of data into a business, into a funnel, and then they're not going to be converting because they're low quality. So if you have, if your data is being based on reach, impression, page view, clicks, then this is a no-go. It's something you shouldn't be changing. So what you want to focus is obviously your LTV, your ROAS, and your customer acquisition cost. Those are going to be the three main metrics that you should be understanding. Now, I'll actually just show you here a quote, which I really liked from Alex Ramosis, which is, you can tell how good of a marketer someone is by how far out they measure ROAS. And this is also a really good point, because a lot of times when you're running campaigns, you're typically going to have a relatively shorter period of time to measure ROAS. By default, Facebook has 7-day click attribution or 28 days. So depending on what you're running, you might only see a very fraction of the data on your ads reporting. And that's why here I mentioned LTV and CAC and ROAS, because you should always be looking at the whole picture and at the longer time horizon. So what I mean by this is not so much focus on your return on the next 7 days or the next month, but understanding how much a customer is actually worth it to you during the lifetime of the customer. Or considering ROAS not so much about 1 month ROAS, but in 6 month periods or 12 month period or lifetime ROAS. And basically there is just understanding, okay, hey, I'm acquiring a customer today, which is costing me, for example, $100, but I know that in his lifetime he's going to spend $1,000 with me or $600, right? And that could give you either your lifetime return on ad spend or the LTV divided by CAC, which is going to be a measure of, okay, what's actually the ratio between the lifetime value and the customer acquisition cost. And this is going to allow you to be much more pragmatic in terms of your ads, because you're not going to be just so much focused on what's your return now, but what's actually a customer worth to you on the longer time frame. And a typical case where this is very important is if you have any kind of business or service that is based on recurring revenue, like for example SaaS or a membership or a community, your front-end revenue is going to be much lower compared to what's going to be the total LTV. So again, that's why you need to understand the data, you need to understand the numbers, and you need to make sure that whatever you're running campaigns profitably, but they consider what's the LTV of your customers, what they're actually spending with you across their lifetime, and not just what they're spending here in the next 7 days or 1 month. Because this is also going to allow you, for example, to be much more aggressive in terms of scaling, because even if you're not as profitable today, but if you acquire a customer that's going to spend you $600, $300, $700 or even thousands of dollars across a few months or a few years, that's much more profitable to you. Okay, so that's the third thing I'm always looking for, is understanding really the numbers, understanding the data on the ads and on the business itself. Number 4, targeting. Now, targeting, this is much more about media buying. It's probably the most technical part here that you're gonna be seeing. I don't nowadays. I think that the algorithms are so much more sophisticated than they used to be. That actual Facebook is so good at targeting the right people that in most cases you can just let it do his thing. Now there are always exceptions, and it depends on business to business. Now, if you have obviously, for example, something that is B2C and that most people should be your target audience, then you can usually run broader audiences, especially when you have a lot of data on your pixel, because your account's already trained, and then they'll be able to find the right people. But if you're starting, you might need to give Facebook a little bit of direction. But still, in most cases, you want to keep your targeting relatively broad, so you don't want to be too specific. But what you should focus in is number one. So generally, you want to opt for broader targeting. So avoid being too specific. Broad targeting is usually a good place to start because it will give you a lot of like a larger audience for Facebook to find what's working better or not. But you should have some kind of direction for Facebook. So for example, if you're running campaigns, what you want to have is, for example, interests, which are relevant for your business, lookalikes. So lookalikes are going to be people that are similar to your clients. So if you have a list of your clients, if you have a list of an email list, and then you can just upload it to Facebook and tell Facebook, okay, find me more people like this. And that will allow Facebook to basically, based on this algorithm, find people that are similar. So it's going to be much more likely to find the right people for you. And those are going to be really the main things. So if you go for interest, if you go for lookalikes, and you can also use your retargeting. So it's going to be a little bit more separate because not so broad, but you also want to have some kind of retargeting. And what I mean by retargeting is what you want to have is retargeting, for example, your page views, retargeting the people that are engaged with your Instagram, the people that are engaged with your Facebook, the people that visit your website, the top of site visitors. So for example, the people that spend the most time on your website. You want to create a funnel that actually targets different types of audiences based on the engagement with your business. And here what you can do is have different types of strategies, different types of options, depending on where they are at the funnel. So this would be, for example, separating your targeting options in your funnels based on in your campaigns based on where they're at. So for example, you may have top of funnel campaigns, which are basically campaigns to acquire new customers. You're gonna have something which are gonna be like middle funnel. So people that may already visit your website, they may already checked out your store, but they haven't really engaged a lot. And you might have bottom of funnel. So people who either are leads, who are warmer leads, who already watch your webinar, or people who added to cart but they didn't complete a purchase. So different types of options are going to allow you to have different targeting options and really have different campaigns for each. So if you have top of funnel, then they're going to lead a lot more aggressive campaigns to get them. But then if you're middle of funnel, bottom funnel, then you can use things like social proof, like stories about you, about your company, your benefits, free shipping, special discount code, coupon codes to get them to the store again and make them complete a purchase. Reviews, testimonials, things like that. So this is going to be the fourth thing. Now, the fifth is going to be what I like to call the macro funnel. Now, what I mean by the macro funnel is basically whenever I run a campaign, I have to look at the whole picture. Now, similar to understanding the data, here you just want to make sure that whatever you do, just don't be solely focused on the actual ad, the actual media buying, but the whole strategy as a whole, your whole funnel, your whole customer journey. Because when it comes to ads, okay, you can improve your creatives, you can improve your ad copy, you can improve your targeting, but a lot of the revenue, a lot of the profits going to coming from the back end is how is actually your funnel working? How is your store performing? How are your conversion rates? Do you have a good lead magnet? Do you have a good lead nurturing sequence? How is the entire funnel set up to actually serve your business and serve your ads? So here what I'm looking for is having the systems in place to actually turn cold audiences into customers. And this is oftentimes what's missing in most businesses, because if you're either depending on referrals or if you haven't really built a client acquisition system, that's really going to be the part where your business just isn't ready to handle this. So for example, here what you need is obviously understand your whole funnel. Understand the customer journey / the funnel. Then you're gonna have to have the systems. So you're gonna have to have systems in place to actually convert cold people, cold audiences into customers. And depending on your business, this might be different things. So obviously, if you have a store, most of them is going to be based on your store and your conversion rate of the store. So you really need to look into your conversion rates. And this might be optimizing your store to make sure that it actually converts better. But if you have, for example, a leads funnel, is making sure that you have the systems in place to actually turn the leads. So if you're collecting the data, that you have good response times on your prospect, that you actually contact them soon. Usually the sooner the better. So if you can do it between 2 to 5 minutes, that's going to be perfect. If not, just make sure that you do it as soon as possible. If they don't have, you also need to make sure that you have a lead nurturing sequence. So I can note it here. And a lead nurturing sequence is going to be, for example, when you have a sequence of, for example, emails or messages that you send to your leads to make sure that they know more about your product, know more about your service, know more about your business. And depending on your business, you might be using this in different stages. For example, let's say you have a call funnel. You get those leads in, they book a call for you. Then you're going to have a sequence of emails, a sequence of SMSs to get them ready before the call. You're going to have, for example, VSL. And those kinds of things are really important when it comes to the overall performance of your ads. Because if the systems are not in place, if you don't have a proper funnel, if you don't have something that is converting, then your ads are not going to be working. I actually have a really good example on this, which is just a few weeks ago, we started with a client and then they were running ads, and the media buyer was telling us that for a few days she was not getting any kind of budgets, she was not getting any kind of results. And the reason for that we then figured out was the funnel wasn't working properly. It was the first time that funnel was being tested, and we were actually running an A/B test where we have the original funnel versus a new funnel that we just built. And because we're split testing the data and we're split testing the traffic, the original funnel just wasn't converting. And then what we decided is, okay, we implemented the A/B testing tool, and then we noticed that our new funnel was actually performing about 120% better than the previous funnel. And what we did is, okay, basically if we shut this test now, and then we just send all the traffic to the new funnels, and then we'll see how that goes. And the next day she got 2 sales, and then 3 sales on the following day. So just changing the funnel and changing the structure that we're using, the ads became from unprofitable to getting a 3 to 6 ROAS in 24 to 48 hours. All of this based on just changing the funnel, right? And this is really where the money is made, is just making sure that you have a proper funnel in place. And one of the most important things in the funnel, and that's going to be exactly the number 6, and that is not here, but I'll just write it down. It's going to be economics. I must have deleted here when I was doing a test, but it's going to be economics. So basically, the idea here is you need to make sure that economics or funnel actually work. Now, there's the quote in advertising, which is the one who's willing to spend the most wins. And the idea here is basically is the higher you actually have, or the more you actually afford to get clients, the more you can actually be more aggressive on ads and actually scale your ads more and actually acquire more clients. So you really need to make sure, again, this is connecting your funnel, but that you have a proper funnel in place that gets as much money as possible for you. Now, when it comes to revenue, there are different things that you can do. So one of the things is you can sell to more customers. you can sell to more customers. Now, to sell to more customers, you can either scale your ads, so increase volume. If you increase volume, then you're going to be reaching more people and you're going to be selling to more customers. Or you can improve your conversions, right? Because if, let's say, you have a funnel that's converting at 5%, and then if you scale it to 7%, then you already increase your conversion by almost 50% without increasing your ads. So either you scale your funnel, you increase your traffic, you increase your volume, or you improve your conversions to sell to more customers. Option number 2, though, is you want to sell higher prices or more expensive to the same customers. Now, the thing about selling at higher prices is prices, or whenever you change your prices, that's going to affect your conversions, right? And you need to make sure that your changes in conversions are actually better than, or better, let's just say that your increase in price is enough to sustain your drop in conversions, right? Because you might be increasing your price by about 2x or 3x, and your conversion might be dropping by 5x. And that will cause an issue because you're actually going to be worse off than you were before. So you need to figure out the balance between scale and volume and between prices and figure out what's working best for you. Because we had cases where, increasing prices actually became more profitable, but we also had cases where increasing the prices decreased conversions more than it would actually be if we have kept the same. So depending on your target audience, depending on your offer, depending on your funnels, and even your audience, it might make more sense to either increase your actually price or decrease the price but make up for it in volume. So it's something that you really need to test and figure out what works. And the third thing you can do is sell more to the same customers. Now, the idea here of selling more to the same customers is you pick up the customers that you already have and you just sell more to them. And this might sound easy and simple, but it's actually one of the most profitable things you can do. Because one, this doesn't affect your conversions because you already have them as customers. They're already buying from you. So all you can have is you're basically just selling more to them. So it doesn't affect your conversions because you're not actually increasing the prices. You're not changing the prices. You're not changing the value proposition. You're just selling more. You're also not having to increase your volume. So you don't have to optimize your funnel, which you should, but you don't have to. And you don't have to scale your campaigns because you're going to get more money on the back end. So this is what's going to be, for example, when you start implementing upsells or cross-sells, order bumps, right, all of those kinds of things. And those are really going to be where you can basically just get a lot of profit on your business just from using this. Because you already acquired the customers, they're already happy with you, they already made the decision to join you. And if you can just take that and amplify your business with upsells, that's going to be a really easy way for you to increase your profits. And for example, that's one of the first things you always do when we work with clients is just making sure that we have some kind of back-end sales, some kind of upsells or cross-sells that we can implement, because it's a very quick and easy way to just add more profit for any kind of business. Like we had clients where just implementing upsells properly might be adding or is adding over 100,000 euros of profit just for implementing those things properly. So it's really a profit needle that you should be working on. So upsells, cross-sells are going to be really, really important. But the idea is you want to make sure that your economics work for you and that you're actually profitable and that you have a business that can sustain your ads, because advertising costs are always increasing and sometimes you might not have a lot of control over it. But what you can do is try to make sure that the economics of your funnels actually work and are profitable. Now, if you'd like to know more about this, I actually have another video which is going to be about how to generate cheap leads on Facebook. So this is an example here in January 2025 where we're generating over 2,729 leads at about 50 cents. 50 cents per lead, which is crazy. It's a crazy amount, and these aren't really bad leads. So if you look here at the return, it's actually giving us a ROAS of 12.6 this month. Now, and if you don't know, I've showed you it before, but just to give you an idea, here in January 25, the average cost per lead on Instagram, for example, is $9. So this is almost 10 times cheaper. And on that video, I'll break down the process that we use to create these types of funnels and these types of advertising, where we can basically get very cheap leads at like 50 cents. So hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next one.